That's how it started, in the dim glow of my apartment lamp one rainy evening in October. I was alone, or so I thought, staring at the wall where my silhouette stretched unnaturally long. The rain pattered against the window like impatient fingers, drumming a relentless rhythm that seemed to mock the solitude of my existence. The air felt thick, heavy with the scent of damp earth seeping through the cracks in the old window frames, mingling with the faint mustiness of my cluttered living room. Bookshelves sagged under the weight of forgotten novels, their spines cracked like old bones, and the floorboards creaked subtly with every shift of my body. I'm Alex, a freelance writer in my late 20s, living in a creaky old building on the city outskirts, a place where the rent was cheap but the nights stretched into endless voids. Nights like this, I usually lose myself in stories, weaving tales of adventure or romance to escape the mundane grind of deadlines and isolation. But that night, the story found me, creeping in like fog through the keyhole, uninvited and insidious. The first whisper came from the closet, a soft susurrus that slithered into my ears just as I was jotting down notes for a new article. At first, I dismissed it as the wind rattling the loose panels, or perhaps the distant hum of traffic filtered through the rain. It was a faint murmur, like someone calling my name from far away, across a vast, echoing chasm. Alex, it breathed, insistent yet ethereal, carrying a chill that prickled the hairs on the back of my neck. I froze, my pen hovering over the notebook, ink blotting the page in a small, dark stain that mirrored the growing unease in my chest. The context of my life was ordinary to the point of tedium, bills piling up on the kitchen table like accusatory fingers, a recent breakup with Sarah leaving echoes of loneliness that reverberated through empty rooms, her laughter now just a ghost in my memories. We'd argued one too many times about my reclusive habits, my tendency to bury myself in work rather than face the world. But this felt different, an intrusion that shattered the fragile bubble of my routine. Isolation crept in as I sat there, the room closing around me like a fist tightening slowly, the walls seeming to lean inward with malevolent intent. I could hear my own breathing, shallow and ragged, amplifying the silence that followed the whisper. What was this? A trick of the mind, born from too many horror stories I'd absorbed? Or something more tangible, something that had been waiting in the shadows for just the right moment to stir? I stood slowly, heart thudding against my ribs like a trapped animal desperate to escape, and approached the closet door with the caution of someone stepping into unknown waters. The escalation began when I heard it again, clearer now, laced with an urgency that made my skin crawl. Come closer. My hand trembled on the knob, fingers slick with a sudden sweat despite the cooling air. What if it was nothing, just the building settling, the old pipes groaning in sympathy with the storm? But curiosity, that cursed human flaw, pulled me forward, overriding the rational voice screaming in my head to walk away, to pretend it never happened. I thought of all the times I'd ignored small signs in life, the way Sarah's text grew shorter, the stack of unpaid invoices, and wondered if this was another warning I was too stubborn to heed. The door loomed before me, its white paint chipped and yellowed with age, revealing glimpses of the wood beneath like peeling skin. The whispers grew, layering over each other in a dissonant chorus of voices I didn't recognize, each one overlapping the last in a cacophony that urged me to open the door, to embrace whatever lay beyond. Tension built as shadows danced on the walls, no longer matching my movements but twisting independently, forming shapes that teased the edges of my vision, hands reaching out from the corners, fingers elongated and claw-like, faces contorting in silent screams, mouths agape in eternal agony. I could feel the air cooling around me, a tactile chill raising goosebumps on my arms and neck, as if the room itself was exhaling a breath from some icy abyss. Paranoia set in, coiling around my thoughts like smoke. Was this my mind fracturing from too many late nights fueled by black coffee and flickering screens? I'd read about such things, writers driven to the brink by their own imaginations, blurring the line between fiction and reality. But no, the voices were real, vibrating in my chest with a physicality that made my teeth ache, a resonance that suggested they emanated from the very fabric of the building. I turned the knob slowly, the wood creaking like old bones protesting movement, and pulled the door open just a crack. Inside, darkness swallowed the light from the lamp, a void so profound it seemed to pull at the edges of the illumination, but something stirred within, a presence, ancient and hungry, shifting like a predator sensing prey. The climax hit when I stepped fully in, driven by an inexplicable compulsion, the door slamming shut behind me with a finality that echoed like a coffin lid. The whispers exploded into a roar, enveloping me in blackness that pressed against my eyes, my skin, my very thoughts. I saw them then, spectral figures materializing from the gloom, translucent and wailing, their forms flickering like faulty film reels. Ethereal women in tattered dresses from eras long past, children with hollow cheeks and pleading eyes, all reaching toward me with desperation etched into their features. Their eyes were hollow voids, bottomless pits that pulled at my soul, drawing forth memories I'd buried deep. Childhood fears of the dark, the night my parents argued until dawn, leaving me huddled under blankets. One figure, a gaunt man with a face half melted like wax, reached out, its touch like ice burning my skin, searing through layers of clothing to brand my flesh with numbness. I screamed, the sound swallowed by the void, thrashing against the suffocating darkness that clawed at my limbs, pinning me in place. Helplessness washed over me as time warped. Minutes stretched into hours, each second an eternity of torment where I relived fragments of lives not my own, betrayals, losses, the slow decay of hope. Finally, with a surge of adrenaline born from sheer survival instinct, I burst out, collapsing on the floor in a heap, the whispers fading to distant echoes that lingered in my ears like tinnitus. But the resolution lingered, a mark on my arm, a faint bruise that pulsed with each heartbeat, warm and insistent, as if something had latched on and refused to let go. That closet wasn't empty anymore. It watched me, patient and ever-present, a sentinel to whatever horrors the building harbored. That was just the beginning, a prelude that set the tone for the nightmares to come. 2 nights later, as the bruises darkened to an angry purple, throbbing with a rhythm that synced to my pulse, I heard scratches from the vents, faint at first, like nails dragging across metal. The building's history whispered back to me in snippets I'd overheard from the super. Old tenants vanishing without trace, their names scratched from leases as if they'd never existed, rumors of a curse tied to the land's forgotten past, perhaps an old burial ground disturbed during construction. But I pushed it down, burying the fear under layers of denial, telling myself it was rats, common in these old structures. Yet deep down, I knew it was more. The air carried a weight now, a subtle oppression that made every corner feel alive with malice. The second encounter pulled me deeper into the dread, dragging me into the underbelly of the building where light feared to tread. It started in the basement laundry room, a forgotten corner of the building where the fluorescent lights buzzed like dying insects, casting harsh, flickering shadows that jittered across the concrete walls. I was there at midnight, washing a load of clothes to drown out the whispers still echoing in my head, the mechanical churn of the washer a futile attempt at normalcy. The air was musty, laced with mildew from leaking pipes and something metallic, like the tang of blood mixed with rust, clinging to the back of my throat. I'm not one for superstitions. Grew up in a household that scoffed at ghost stories. My father a pragmatic engineer who explained away every creak with physics, but the isolation down there amplified every drip from the overhead pipes, every distant thud from above, turning the mundane into the menacing. The creature's presence announced itself with a low growl, rumbling from the shadows behind the dryers, a sound that vibrated through the floor and up my legs, primal and warning. Escalation came swiftly, building like a storm-gathering force. I turned, seeing nothing at first in the dim corners, but then a scuttle, claws scraping on concrete, deliberate and close. My pulse raced, hammering in my ears as yellow eyes gleamed from the dark, unblinking and predatory, belonging to something hunched and furred, larger than any rat, its silhouette bulky and misshapen against the wall. It moved with unnatural speed, circling me in the confined space, its breath hot and fetid, carrying the rot of forgotten things, decaying meat, moldy wood, the essence of neglect. I backed against the washer, the machine's hum masking my shallow breaths, but not the terror clawing at my throat. The thing's form solidified in glimpses as it darted closer, elongated limbs ending in hooked claws, teeth like jagged glass glinting under the lights, a maw that dripped viscous slime, pooling on the floor with a sizzle. I thought of examples from my reading, werewolves in folklore, beasts born from human sins. But this was no myth. It was visceral, real, its musk invading my nostrils. Loss of control gripped me. The door to the stairs was locked from the outside, or so it seemed, the handle slick and unyielding under my frantic tugs, trapping me with this abomination. The climax erupted when it lunged from the shadows, a blur of fur and fury, pinning me to the cold, gritty floor with a force that knocked the wind from my lungs. Its weight crushed down, heavy as sin, claws raking my side in fiery trails, drawing blood that warmed my shirt and soaked into the concrete beneath. I fought back, kicking wildly with legs that felt leaden, feeling its hide like wet leather under my fists. Tough, yielding slightly, but snapping back with resilience. A guttural snarl filled the room, reverberating off the walls as it hovered inches from my face, hot breath washing over me, hunger burning in those yellow eyes, promising a slow, agonizing end. In that moment, reflections flooded my mind. The life I'd wasted in isolation, the stories I'd written about heroes triumphing over darkness, now mocking my helplessness. Desperation surged. I grabbed a loose pipe from the floor, rusted and heavy, swinging it with all my remaining strength, connecting with a sickening crack against its skull. The creature recoiled, screeching, a sound like tearing metal and anguished souls, before fleeing into the vents with a scramble of claws, leaving trails of slime and blood. Resolution came in ragged breaths, the laundry room spinning as I bandaged my wounds upstairs with trembling hands. But the scratches itched relentlessly, as if something burrowed deeper, infecting not just flesh but spirit. The building fed on us, one bite at a time, savoring the fear it cultivated like a gardener tending poisonous blooms. 3 days passed in a haze of pain and paranoia, the wounds festering with an unnatural heat, pus seeping like whispers of corruption, mirroring the rot spreading through my mind. I tried to leave, packing a bag with essentials, but the door stuck fast, hinges groaning in refusal, the whispers urging me back with promises of safety and submission. Friends from my writing group texted, concerned about my silence, but I couldn't bring myself to respond, fearing I'd drag them into this nightmare. The third story unfolded in my own reflection, where psychological terror took root, twisting the familiar into the nightmarish. It began in the bathroom mirror, steam from a hot shower fogging the glass in swirling patterns that evoked faces in the mist. I'd locked myself in, seeking solace in the ritual of routine, the water's roar a temporary barrier against the chaos encroaching from every corner. The apartment felt smaller now, walls pressing in with a tactile weight, as if they breathed in sync with my fear. The familiar turned sinister by the accumulation of dread. My face in the mirror looked gaunt, eyes shadowed from sleepless nights haunted by visions of claws and voids, cheeks hollowed by skipped meals. But as the steam cleared slowly, revealing my reflection inch by inch, something shifted, a subtle distortion at the edges, my reflection smiling when I did not, lips curling in a grin that held no warmth, only malice. Tension escalated as the smile widened, teeth gleaming unnaturally white against the pallor of its face, a Cheshire leer that mocked my horror. I blinked hard, rubbing my eyes with water-slick hands, but it persisted, the reflection's head tilting slightly, mouthing words I couldn't hear over the relentless patter of the shower. Paranoia bloomed like a dark flower in my chest. Was this exhaustion finally breaking me? A hallucination born from stress and injury? I'd always prided myself on my grip on reality, dismissing colleagues' tales of burnout-induced visions, but now doubt gnawed at the edges. The reflection reached out, hand pressing against the glass from the other side, fingers splaying wide, fogging it anew with breath that wasn't mine. I stepped back, heart slamming against my ribs like a caged bird, feeling the air thicken with an electric charge, static raising the fine hairs on my arms. Whispers joined in, not from the vents or walls, but from within my skull, intimate and probing, questioning my reality. Who is the real you? The one who hides, or the one who hungers? They echoed memories, Times I'd lied to myself about happiness, about being content in solitude, amplifying the fracture. The peak came abruptly when the mirror shattered without cause, shards exploding inward like accusations hurled from another world, slicing the air and nicking my skin in superficial cuts. My reflection stepped through the fractured frame, a doppelganger with my exact face, but eyes black as pitch, voids that swallowed light, advancing with predatory grace that mimicked my own gait but inverted, sinister. It grabbed my wrist, cold fingers digging in like iron vices, forcing me to confront the lies I'd told myself. The unfinished manuscripts symbolizing unlived dreams, the isolation I'd chosen as armor now revealed as chains. Helpless, I watched it mimic my life in cruel parody, my voice escaping its lips in mocking laughter that echoed my own insecurities, gestures exaggerated to grotesque. I shattered it with a towel rack swung in blind panic, glass raining down in a deadly cascade, cutting my feet as I stumbled back. But in the fragments scattered across the tile, I saw myself, trapped, screaming silently in each shard, a mosaic of madness. The resolution was a hollow victory, shards swept away but the image lingering. Now, every surface held a potential twin. Windows, polished appliances, even the dark pool of water, watching, waiting to switch places, to claim the life that was slipping from my grasp. Who was I anymore? The question haunted me, a refrain in the quiet hours. A week blurred by in a fog of covered mirrors and drawn curtains, the apartment a dim cave where light was suspect, but the final dread loomed in the rules I'd uncovered, fragile threads to survival amid the chaos. The building had guidelines, etched in faded notices tucked into drawers, and past and tenant lore whispered in the stairwells, rules designed to appease its hunger without fully sating it. Context set in the lobby one stormy afternoon, where an old envelope waited under my door, yellowed paper sealed with wax that bore no mark. Rules for residents. I read them by flashlight as the power flickered out at dusk, the beam casting long shadows that danced like conspirators. The words were simple yet ominous. Rule number 1. Never answer knocks after dark, lest you invite the uninvited. Rule number 2. Ignore the footsteps overhead. They're not yours, but echoes of those who wandered too far. Isolation deepened as neighbors' doors stayed shut, their absence a palpable void, the atmosphere thick with unspoken fear that seeped under thresholds like smoke. I recalled vague stories from the super about past residents, a woman who answered a knock and vanished, her screams fading into silence. Examples that now felt like prophecies. Escalation built through violations I couldn't avoid, each one a step closer to the edge. A knock came at 2 a.m., insistent, like bones tapping on glass, rhythmic and pleading. I resisted at first, huddled under blankets, but the whispers coerced from the walls. Answer, or it comes inside, unbidden and ravenous. Footsteps echoed above, circling my ceiling before descending the stairs with deliberate slowness, each thud a countdown. The air hummed with cosmic weight, as if the building breathed, alive and vast, indifferent to our frailty, its structure a labyrinth of eldritch design hiding dimensions beyond sight. Paranoia peaked when, breaking rule number 3, do not look up at the ceiling lights, for they watch. I did, craning my neck to see eyes staring back from the bulbs, unblinking voids from another realm, pupils dilating like black holes devouring stars, pulling at my gaze with hypnotic force. Climax shattered the fragile peace when the door burst open under invisible force, the entity, a swirling mass of shadows and whispers, formless yet sentient, pouring in like ink spilled across reality. It defied the rules, a cosmic horror unbound, tendrils of darkness wrapping my limbs with a grip that burned cold, pulling me toward an abyss where stars screamed in agony, their light twisting into tormented faces. Helplessness was absolute, existence unraveling thread by thread, control lost to the infinite maw that whispered secrets of the universe's cruelty, worlds devoured, souls recycled in eternal torment. Reflections assaulted me, my life's insignificance, the stories I'd crafted now dwarfed by true horror. In desperation, I recited the rules backward, a frantic chant stumbling from numb lips. Lights sealing it up, look not do. Dark after knocks, answer never. And it recoiled, the mass shuddering before dissolving into mist that reeked of ozone and despair. Resolution hung unresolved, the doors sealing shut as if nothing happened. The rules changed nightly, scrawled anew on walls or in dust, evolving to ensnare the unwary. I follow them now, rigidly, whispering them like prayers, but dread whispers eternally. One slip, a forgotten rule or momentary lapse, and I'm gone, another echo in the vents. That was months ago, yet time feels elastic here, stretching and contracting with the building's whims. I still live here, bound by the rules, a tenant in my own prison. Last night, a new knock came, mine, from the other side, pleading to be let in.